everyone, Alexis here. It's Tidbit Tuesday. For today, I'm going to break down the Chaturanga. Chaturanga is the high to low push-up that we do often in vinyasa. And a lot of people think that because we do it so often, or it's kind of this one breath, one movement, kind of little sequence, right? The Chaturanga up dog, down dog, that we kind of just rush through it and sometimes skip the proper form. And so the reason that we care about this, apart from just doing it properly, is that in some ways we actually set ourselves up for injury because this is a sequence that we go through so often and a posture that we go through so often in the vinyasa. So what I want to do for today is I'm going to show the correct way to do it, and then I'm going to show some common pitfalls, the most common things that I see in class, and then I'll show you again the correct way to do it so you can practice that. And then I'm also going to show the modification on the knees because this is a posture that took me a long time to get. Again, because we go through it so often, we're like, this should be easy. It is such a challenging posture. So as long as you're doing the modification properly and really using correct technique and correct form, you will build the strength in the shoulders, triceps, everywhere in order to be able to do the full Chaturanga. So for the full Chaturanga, I'm going to show it from plank today because normally we would come from inhale, halfway lift, exhale, step back to plank, or straight back to Chaturanga. So for the proper Chaturanga, like I said, it's high plank to low plank. Okay. So we start in plank position. What we want to do is look forward, shift forward on the toes. My shoulders come in front of the wrist. This gives me the space as my elbows point straight back to lower halfway. Then I point the toes and lift the chest for upward facing, and then come back to downward facing. So that's the correct way, that's the proper form to do it. What I see happen a lot of the time are pretty much three different things. The first thing that I see happen often are that there's no shift forward on the toes, and even if there is, people often try to take like a normal push-up, so they let their elbows come out. Well, if your hands are stacked under your shoulders and you're just taking a normal push-up, there comes a point where it's so much on the body to try to press back up that, right, we collapse onto the floor. And often I hear that sound or some variation of that sound in class. So it's kind of this like complete collapse because the elbows come out. So the second thing that I see happen often is the push-up is kind of skipped altogether. A lot of times this is just when we don't quite have the upper body strength, but maybe don't want to take the modification or don't know how to take the modification. So what happens is we kind of skip the push-up. Maybe the elbows come out, maybe they stay in, but it's kind of this action of we lose the core engagement, so we're not pulling in and up through the core. So we kind of bend the elbows a little bit, and then it looks like this, and then we skip the push-up, and we just try to come straight up to up dog or to cobra in this case, right? And so the problem with that is, first of all, we're never actually building the strength that we need in the arms to do the full Chaturanga, but also that when we get to this place with the toes tucked under, often for a lot of people, this is a lot of compression in the lumbar spine, in the low back. And so over time, you can really start to feel that in your low back if you're just kind of collapsing down and skipping in. The third thing that I see happen often when maybe the technique and the strength are almost there, but not quite, is that we lose this idea of high plank to low plank. And we come from high plank into this kind of shoulder dropping, collapsing action in the upper body. So what happens is we start in our plank, we shift forward, the elbows come in, but then maybe we do one of these, and our butt's kind of sticking up in the air and our shoulders are sloping downward, and then we do this scoop up to upward facing. So again, the problem with this is that it's a lot of load in the shoulders. So it might not be something that you feel tomorrow or a month from now, but you might feel it a year or 2 years from now if you're constantly doing this motion of this downward sloping on the shoulders. So again, I'm going to show the correct form for the Chaturanga, and then I'm going to show the modification. Let me move back a little bit. So for the correct Chaturanga, we start in plank. Okay. I shift forward on the toes. This is what lets my elbows come back and still have my elbows stack over the heels of my hands that I lower, so then I lower halfway. Shoulders still pointing forward. Flip the feet, push up, upward facing. Engage the core, push back, downward facing dog. Okay, I'll cue through that one more time. Plank position. Look forward, shift forward, lower halfway, elbows in and back. Flip, flip, lift up, push back, okay? So for the modification, it's almost the exact same thing, except we're just taking it on the knees. We still shift forward, we still squeeze the elbows in, we still lower halfway without dropping the shoulders. Looks like this. Start from plank, knees down. Shift forward, look forward, lower halfway. Now you can just point the toes, drop the hips, and lift the chest for cobra. Come through hands and knees, downward facing dog. I'll show that one more time. Plank, knees. Look forward, shift forward, elbows in and back, lower halfway. Point toes, drop hips, lift chest. Down dog, okay? So like I said, if you practice that for a little while, it's an amazing way to build the shoulder strength, tricep strength, everything that you need for a full chaturanga. So keep working on that if you need to. And then if you've got the full chaturanga, but you're not quite sure what to do with the feet because they're tucked and then they're pointed and then they're tucked, I did a Tidbit Tuesday a couple weeks ago to show just the foot placement throughout the vinyasa and what we do with that. So keep practicing. Thanks guys. Namaste.